driving and she see black trash bags. And it's Michigan. Deer are out at that time of year, so she's thinking like, oh, if somebody threw away deer parts. She gets closer, and it's a head kind of hanging out the bag. So,
hi, welcome to Crime in the Mitten. We are your hosts. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Alia.
Every week, you'll hear a new true crime story based in Michigan, from the mysterious missing cases to the gruesome murders that left the police struggling to stay on the scene. We're giving you the inside scoop on what's going on in our Mitten state. Tune in every Wednesday for your weekly dose of Michigan true crime. Hey everybody, what's up, true crimers and crimettes? This week we are doing another true crime case, and it's Alia's turn to do it, and she's been bragging to me about how I'm going to love this one for like a week now. So yeah, she started off with like, I'm watching Snap, and I was like, what? How come your research always take you to Snap and stuff like that in mine? So I be having to read articles. Like,
I still have to read a lot of articles.
I never get a break where I can watch a TV show, and but
yeah.
Can't wait to hear this one because she just been telling me about it, and I just seen the name of it, and that's all I know about it though. So I'm just as ready as you guys are.
So my case this week is on Donna Scrivo, and anytime I mention this case to anybody, like just talking about it, they automatically knew who I was talking about. I was like, the lady who such and such, like, oh yeah, she could, like, yeah, her.
Well, I don't know the name off of it, but pretty sure she's not going to tell me right now because I'm supposed to be as excited. So yeah, I might know about this one too. Hopefully. I don't think I consider myself a true crime fan if like everybody else knew about it but me. Okay.
So Donna Scrivo was born as Donna K. Chafin on February 4th, 1954 to George Chafin and Melba Ford in Kaufman County, Texas, and she had one brother and one sister. Her father, like, it was a small town, so her father was he worked for the federal prison, and her mother was a Sunday school teacher. So
the balance.
That's just, this just sets the tone for the rest of the story.
Okay.
You think her life is gonna go great, right? So anyway, after she graduated in high school, she was like the popular girl, caring, loving, like everybody loved her. Mm-hmm. She was really nice and sweet. Everybody knew when she grew up she wanted to be a nurse. Mm-hmm. So straight out of high school, she worked for the federal prison with her father as well. Mm-hmm. And she fell in love with an inmate. Very love after lockup. There's literally a lady on this past season who met her person because she worked for the prison, and she met him there, and she didn't get fired for talking to him. She got fired because this lady was switching personalities after work to go visit him. She was changing her wig. Wow. She was getting fake IDs, like everything, so she could still visit him after work hours on the weekends and stuff. So she didn't necessarily get fired. Wow. She got fired and arrested because she got arrested for fake IDs and all of that. But she got fired for talking to him.
I mean, that's dedication at its finest. If someone don't love you that much to get 10 different identities, they don't love you.
Lost her job. She was like high up in her job.
So it wasn't just a little loss. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
funny.
She messed up. Also, one of the people from Love After Lockup this year is from Michigan, so
maybe.
And then they do that thing where they show like downtown, but they really on like 8 Mile. I'm like, okay, stop doing this.
I know
downtown and 8 Mile are not the same. They just associate Detroit with downtown. And it's not.
It's not. Okay.
Yeah.
Big misconception.
Yeah. So she met Daniel Scrivo, and he was in prison for armed robbery. So after he got out in 1978, she quit her job. They moved to Detroit, and he started a painting company. So after he got out, he really did do well with his life.
Okay.
So
that's good. I guess, it rehabilitates sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he started his painting company, and they had their son soon after they got married and moved to Michigan. They had their son in the same year. They had Jason. And by then they were like had made enough money from his painting company to move to St. Clair Shores.
Okay.
So and then they had their son Ramsay in 1981. So the boys started school, and like most parents, like most stay-at-home moms, your kids start school, you do something with your life too. So she went to nursing school. She was finally able to go to nursing school.
Right.
So what she wanted to do her whole life. And when she graduated, she didn't go to school full time because she was like the neighborhood mom, and then she still wanted to be there for her kids. Like all the kids came to her house after school for latchkey or whatever. I plan
on trying to make my house.
So the kids came to her house after school, so she was like that kind of mom. As her kids got older, Jason became a firefighter in Detroit, so he was like moved on with his life or whatever. And Ramsay was still in high school at that point, and he was an athlete. He worked for obviously for his dad's painting company. And then he graduated high school and went to Wayne State.
I mean, that sounds like a pretty nice Michigan life.
Right, yeah. Like, it's a decent Michigan lifestyle. Now, after graduating nursing school and both her sons are off, Donna worked for St. John Hospital, and then she left in 2003 at the age of 49 because she had a heart attack. Oh. So she still wanted to stick with nursing, but for, like, less stress, she became a home care nurse.
Oh, okay.
So instead of running back and forth trying to help everybody, she had one patient.
Just one
at
patient.
a time.
Yeah, so now that helps.
Right.
And then you can still do the thing you love the most.
Right. You still take care of people.
The fact that she still wanted to work after having a heart attack is like, it's so sweet. It shows kind of like the Sunday school mom she had in there.
Yeah. So in 2009, she had cancer, and like they really wanted her treated. So her and her husband went to Mexico for the treatment that wasn't approved in the U.S. by the FDA. Mm-hmm. A little risky, but I mean, it worked.
A little sketchy, but sometimes they really do.
Right.
Like, you can't always trust our FDA.
You can't.
So, I get it.
So, she went to, after her recovery in Mexico, she went to Texas for her high school reunion. And, you know, there she let all her friends know that she was in remission. She met up with some old friends, all of that. So they got back to Michigan after Texas, and her husband Daniel died from hepatitis C, and he used a dirty needle as a teen in his 20s when he was doing drugs. And that's so he always had it. So, but it finally like took over, and he passed from that. So in the fall of
at least I'm glad he got his life together before he passed.
He wasn't still right. He served his time and he did good in his life.
Okay.
So in fall of 2013, Donna moved into her son Ramsay's house, her youngest son Ramsay. Mm-hmm. By this point, her son Jason, the oldest, he's in. I can't remember where he moved to, but he was no longer in Michigan. Okay. So she lived with Ramsay while her house was being repaired after a house fire. She was having some work done on her house. Ramsay had depression and paranoid schizophrenia. And when he was on his meds, obviously everything was good. When he wasn't, he tried to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol. And that's when the anger problems kicked in. He got arrested at one point for a bar fight. Like, oh, wow. So, yeah, it was, when he was good, and when he wasn't, he wasn't. So, Ramsay went to school. When he went to Wayne State, he went to school for accounting. And he had a good accounting job, but he was going good with his medicine, and he wasn't, so that led him to get fired because he, you know, everybody's out to get me type of thing.
Off the rails.
Yeah. So he lost his job, and he was, like, doing in and out jobs. Obviously, he couldn't work for his father anymore, so he worked for Mr. C's car wash on 8 Mile and Harper, and he was, like, you know, doing stuff at the car wash. Okay. And Ramsay didn't take his dad's death well. Like, he didn't do well after Daniel passed. So Donna checked him into a mental hospital, and she gained guardianship over him. And then, you know, he was fine for a minute. He wanted to, you know, gain his own guardianship back. But on January 27th, 2014,
there's always a but.
2014, Donna reported Daniel missing. And she said he went out to get cigarettes at 6:30 that night before and never came back. And this is January.
In Michigan?
In Michigan. In
2014. Yeah, no, something's wrong. Yeah.
That was the coldest winter reported. And 100 years.
I remember.
Our school also didn't have heat this winter. For like a week, our school didn't have heat.
Yeah.
So
and we were in the thing about our school was it was a old Catholic school.
Yeah.
So there was like that school was going off of like prayers sometimes. So
yeah.
it never happened. So the fact that it did, it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm. We were in school in coats, hats, gloves, but they weren't closing.
That's what you're famous saying, I don't go outside if the weather is younger than me.
Our school didn't have heat for a good week that winter. And we were still there every day.
Yeah.
Exciting.
It was cool or whatever.
So yeah, she reported him missing. 6:30. I looked up the weather that day, and at 6 o'clock p.m. on that day that he went missing, it was 0 degrees at 6 o'clock.
Oh no.
This is for Detroit. They say in St. Clair Shores, off the water.
Off the water, so
you
it's
can just
colder.
Imagine what the weather really was.
They're in the negatives at this point.
Exactly.
But at least 2. At least.
This man she said he was wearing flannel pajama pants, a white t-shirt, work boots, and a Carhartt jacket. Carhartt jackets, they heavy.
They warm
and they keep you warm.
But they not that warm. No.
They not
I've
that
worn
warm.
one before and they don't keep
warm. They heavy.
Yeah, they are.
But they not that warm.
Yeah, but they're not
You'll
negative.
sweat. But not in the negatives.
But not in the negatives. You had just probably you're still cold. So
you just walking to get cigarettes.
I can see why she immediately thought something was wrong.
So she reported him missing. When the investigators searched for his phone, it pinged off a tower close to the water. But I mean, St. Clair Shores, everything is close to the water. So they look for him, like maybe because she was trying to say that he was suicidal.
Okay.
So she goes, they look on the water, like, are there any holes? Obviously, it's frozen. They try to see if it's any, like, new, fresh holes. They, like, looking. Ain't no holes on the water, like, hard ice. Yeah. So, like, okay, he didn't try to commit suicide in the water. So, a couple days later, a neighbor found his phone in their driveway. Right. So obviously, if you're missing, your mother's calling your phone back to back.
Blowing it up.
No phone calls, no text messages from Donna. But she said she's been looking for him. No text messages, nothing. Okay. She said she walked up and down the street, going to bars and everything. And she think he would be January. No sign. She said she found no sign of him. So they're like, okay.
All right. So that's definitely suspicious. Mm-hmm.
So on January 30th, 2015, a woman was driving down Fedmore Highway in St. Clair County. So 30 minutes from St. Clair Shores. And, she's driving and she sees black trash bags. And it's Michigan. Deer are out at that time of year. So she's thinking like, oh, if somebody threw away deer parts. She gets closer and it's a head kind of hanging out the bag. So she calls 911. They come like they're strung down the side of the freeway or the side of the highway. So she calls 911. Obviously, they get there and they look into the bags. One bag has a foot sticking out, like hanging out. One bag has a Black & Decker jigsaw. So this is not a regular saw. It's like the saw you put on the table and you...
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those. And it's like impacted with blood and flesh. So...
Like someone just recently used it.
Along with like a Coca-Cola bottle off to the side, like along with the bags. So they take it all in and news spreads fast. So by this point, if the freeway is cut off, obviously it's news, planes and everything. Right. So... This is on Channel 7 News by the end of the night. So Donna calls in the next morning and was like, they took the body to St. Clair County Morgue. Mm-hmm. Stories on the news. Donna called and was like, hey, I want to come identify the body. Your son is missing. Nobody says anything about him dead. He's missing. You report him missing. You want to go look at the body at the morgue? What
And
leads
then the
you to
thing
think
is, a normal mother is like,
don't.
they dread that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You're offering it up. You
call.
come knock on my door, because even then I'm not answering off the first thing, because I know what you're probably going to say. Yeah. So no, thank you.
So they're instantly suspicious, but it's nothing they can do yet because they have no type of information.
Right.
So they start questioning neighbors, and a woman said she saw, or someone said, like, not neighbors, but like somebody came in and said that they saw someone dumping what looked like to be a dead dog on the side of the road.
Okay.
So,
but that was no dead dog.
Right. So like they just saw somebody dumping a black bag off the side of the road. So they assumed it was a dog. So investigators, they start searching for a place nearby with a camera, nearby that road. Someone with a light color SUV, that's what they said,
right.
Dumping a dead dog. So they go to places around, end up at a BP gas station to look at their cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did they see the light color SUV, they see Donna driving it. Get out and go into the gas station.
What?
So the gas station attendant, like, yeah, I remember her, like, she was real frantic-y, like, she was kind of panicking a little bit. She got her gas and she left.
Wow.
So, that happened. They took Donna in for questioning. So they like, were you in St. Clair County recently? She's like, no.
And she's denying it, not knowing that they have the camera footage on her.
So they asked her a few times. She's like, I haven't been there in about a year. Like, I have no reason to go to St. Clair County, blah, blah. Like, I live in St. Clair Shores, Macomb County. I have no reason. So she's, like, really, really denying it. So they're like, okay, what if we show you pictures? Will we have you placed in St. Clair County? And she like, okay, I'll look at it. She looked up the picture of her at the gas station. She was like, yeah, that's me.
I thought she was going to be like, no, that's still not me. She's like,
yeah, that's me.
Well, you caught me. Like, what can I say now?
That's me. So
I did that.
Yeah. So they were able to arrest her for dumping the body because obviously this is you. This is your car. Somebody saw you dump bags on the side of the road. So they had her for that, for moving a dead body without permission from a coroner. So after that, they went, obviously, to search her condo. Guess what they smelled when they searched her condo?
Is it bleach?
Bleach. Walking in the door, instantly smelled bleach. So she didn't clean up that great because there's still blood in the bathtub. There are matches by the bathtub. There are burn marks in the bathtub. There's blood on the wall in the bedroom. There's also bleach marks on the carpet.
And this is his house, right?
This is his house.
Because she's staying there while it's being renovated.
So it's his place.
So he was minding his business.
Literally.
Being nice.
Letting his mama stay with him.
Okay.
Right. So, get blood on the stair rail, on the steps, and by the door. All of this blood was she cleaned up. They also found a receipt for Lowe's for this Black & Decker jigsaw. Not even a chainsaw. It would have probably worked easier.
It might have, but won't you need a table for that? Like, so we had him on the table and you were picking him up and
she just tried to do it. You see.
So, I don't want to see it.
But not only did they find the receipt, they go to Lowe's, and the cashier at Lowe's remember her. The employee at Lowe's remember her. So she went into Lowe's.
You're a memorable murderer.
She went to Lowe's 3 times that day.
Oh, no wonder she remembered.
They remember because she went in to buy the saw. So she went back because it wasn't working properly. She went again because it was something wrong with the battery. So she went to Lowe's 3 different times. So when she said it wasn't working properly, they're like, okay, ma'am, what do you need it for? Like, maybe I can point you to something else. She was like, oh, no, this is fine. It's just for a few small projects around the house.
Yeah, nothing drastic,
major.
Like, I'm not doing open surgery, like, just throwing it out there.
Right. just a few things around the house.
Wow.
So they were so they were able to find the SUV, which was her husband Daniel's. It was in his name. Mm-hmm. And
I kind of figured, you're dragging him into it now. That's great.
Just like, she donated the car to Mother Waddles.
So now
Everybody from, I'm going to say from Detroit, but everybody from Michigan should know what Mother Waddles is.
Yes.
You see the billboards, you hear the commercials, you think purple because that's what the
what
billboard,
they flash you.
that's what the commercial. I hear Mother Waddles, I instantly thought, that's the purple dark car donation place. So she donated the car to Mother Waddles. They were able to trace it back to him because, VIN number. As soon as they get there, they open the car door of blood.
You didn't even clean it?
She didn't try.
She's like, oh no, they got to do a whole deep clean first. Like, that's a part of the process. Why would I not? Like,
exactly.
Trust me, they weren't eager to clean your car. Like, you're supposed to at least give it in some kind of nice condition.
No,
that is so messed up.
Mother Waddles with blood in it.
Did you, was there a cockiness? Like, did you just think that, all right, somebody's going to take care of this for me?
I think she was just old and she just gave up. She was just tired at this point. I don't know what it was. So, on February 24th, 2014, they had enough evidence to charge her with murder. Mm-hmm. So they could keep her a little longer.
As they should.
Right. So, her defense and her attorney, Mark Haddad, was saying, well, there's no motive. What would she kill her son for?
Right.
The prosecutor, William Cataldo, brought up the fact that they had looked at her phone and they saw where she was communicating for someone she reconnected with in Texas. A guy they had been bonding. Her husband died. His wife died. So they had been bonding and formed a relationship based off, similar trauma.
Yeah.
So,
that happens.
Basically, she wanted to move to, they were saying, she wanted to move to Texas. Mm-hmm. He was hurt. She was Ramsay's guardian. If he didn't want to go, she couldn't go.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
At this point, Donna got a whole new story. She had nothing to do with it. She didn't know what was going on, blah. No, she had a whole new story about how she was doing laundry. On January 26th, she was doing laundry in her basement. She came upstairs to a masked man. This masked man told her, she asked him what he was doing there. He said he was there to kill her son. He gave her just your son. She gave
back to bed.
Basically, said the masked man told her that he had given Ramsay a Coca-Cola with bleach and Xanax in it. Enough Xanax to knock him out. He was already taking Xanax because of his mental issues. But he had enough to knock him out. He tied Donna up, and locked her in her room. And she could hear the man telling Ramsay that he was ruining lives. And basically, he was ruining people's lives, and he was killing him. So, she said she heard Ramsay say he couldn't breathe, and he started calling out for his big brother Jason. The man dragged her by her hair as she was crying her eyes out, he dragged her by her hair to Ramsay's room so that she could see him for one last time. He was propped up on the side of his bed. So okay, well, how did you know he was dead at that point? She was like, I was staring at his chest. She's on the court, in the stand crying her eyes out. I didn't say, when they called her into when they called her in for investigation, mm-hmm. They told her after they found his body, and they didn't tell her when she wanted to view the body. They knew by his ID picture and by the picture that the morgue sent to them. That's how they knew that it was actually Ramsay. So they called her in for investigation, just for him being missing, not for did you do it. This is just missing. So we found the person that they found on the side of the road was Ramsay. She didn't cry. She looked shocked. She said, "Are you sure?"
Are you sure?
So she didn't cry at that point. She's in a courtroom crying her eyes out.
Boo-hooing her eyes out at this point.
You have to go back and look at these videos. I will send you the link to a couple of the videos. She's just crying her eyes out. So,
did it not register what you did?
Exactly.
Or oh wow, I really got caught. Texas is off the line now.
Right. So she's crying her eyes out, letting him know this man dragged her to Ramsay's room. So they're how did you know he was dead? I was looking at his chest. His chest wasn't moving. He was dead. Blah, blah. So she was saying that the man threatened if she said anything or if she didn't do what he told her to do, he was going to hurt her two nieces, her nephew, and her son Jason. So
sounds really specific.
Right.
Like this person, if it was a person that they knew a lot of information about you.
So he told her that he was going to, the next day, he was going to cut up his body and that she needed to report him missing. And then he sent her to Lowe's to get the saw. Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden you're an accomplice. You guys know your partners now?
So she said she couldn't tell anyone because she feared for her family's life. So,
crap.
After one of the trips to Lowe's, he realized, like, Ramsay's still on probation for this bar fight. So he like, oh, I thought he was off probation. Like, he said Donna said that this masked man was going off on her and really upset that Ramsay was still on probation. So he made Donna call the probation officer and let her know that that Ramsay was missing so that she wouldn't call the police when he didn't check in or whatever he was supposed to do.
Right.
So she let the PO know that Ramsay was missing and, don't report him because obviously if you get reported, the police show up to your house.
Show up to your house.
So they couldn't have that because at this point, Ramsay's in the bathtub.
Yeah, Ramsay is being
in
worked on right now.
Right. So after the last trip to Lowe's, this third and final trip to Lowe's, she said she got back in the house.
This is crazy.
This is her story. Got back into the house. He shoved the Xanax into her mouth and locked her back in her room. This is Monday. So the next morning on Tuesday, she heard the man with the saw and she smelled burning flesh. And he let her out to help him. He didn't, it wasn't time for her to help yet. But she smelled burning flesh. He let her out, whatever. And he hadn't been cut up yet. So I don't know what she heard. Maybe he was testing the saw, whatever.
Testing it out, right?
Because this is all a made up story. But
yeah, so it really don't matter what he was doing in his free time. Because there is no free time.
It's you, ma'am.
It's you. You didn't have any time.
You didn't. So on Wednesday, he told her that he needed her help. She said she got to the bathroom, saw him in the bathtub, and she threw up. So he cussed her out, called her useless, and locked her back in her room. So on Thursday, she said...
Okay. I get why you said, like, you can't help but laugh, because I'm just like,
because
what?
It's so dumb. So on Thursday, he made her carry the trash bags to her car with a gun to her head. Mind you, when they questioned neighbors in the court, when they questioned neighbors on the stand, the neighbor was like, she was carrying these bags and she was struggling. The neighbors was like, the neighbor had kind of got upset, like, why is she carrying these bags by herself when she has a son living in the house with her? So, like, the neighbors don't see a guy.
She's not the one that's schizophrenic, is she?
The neighbor is really upset, like, why is she carrying these bags by herself?
Yeah, where's your son?
Where's your son?
Yeah.
Imagine it's January. I'm not about to come out to help you. So, I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's what
you
want to do. Go for it.
It's too cold to be a good Samaritan.
So at this point, with a gun to her head, she had to stop at the BP gas station. He made her, after they left the gas station, he made her stop and dump the bags on the side of the road. She said she was crying the entire time, and he was upset with her, telling her to hurry up. When she wasn't moving the bags fast enough, he pushed them out by himself and made her get back in the car.
Okay.
Right. So after that, they went to the car wash to clean up the car, and he told her she needed to donate the car to Mother Waddles. Told her exactly where to take the car. So...
Okay. So you just don't have a mind of your own. You didn't try to break away at any time. You went to the store on 3 different occasions. You didn't alert a cashier or anything.
Station. She went to State Farm at some point.
State Farm? What is she doing at State Farm?
She went to the insurance company at some point.
Oh my goodness.
She said the last time she saw the masked man is when He told her to take off the plates, change the title, and not to go to the police till.
And you listened to him.
She told her not to go to the police till Saturday afternoon. Still crying in the court stand.
I feel like this is one of the most elaborate cases we've never did. Like, the most WTF ever. And we didn't have a lot of WTF moments.
Yeah. While sitting in the stand, still crying, she told the court she didn't kill Ramsay and she had nothing to do with it at all.
Of course you did, right? It's always something like, sounds like you're pretty guilty to me.
Exactly. So, obviously, Prosecutor Cataldo is, like, fed up with her, like, annoyed, not believing nothing she's saying, like, and he's obviously annoyed. Like, he's showing how annoyed he is with her.
I would, too.
Exactly. So, he's questioning her, like, why would he let you live? Why would he trust you?
With all of the stuff that's going on, with the going to Lowe's and stuff, what's so special about you? Something.
Exactly.
And then all these times he's getting frustrated with you.
He
didn't off you, not once.
When you threw up, he and knocked your head into the toilet that one time. Like you throwing up, he could have knocked your head on this porcelain toilet and knocked you clean out. You would have been like all the stuff he could have did, and he didn't do nothing.
He did nothing. He was like, "No, I'm doing the world a favor by getting rid of him, and you're good."
Leaving you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. You know.
So they're like, you went to the police station, filed a missing person, but didn't tell the whole rest of the story. You lived with his man, stayed in your house for 5 days. You knew you didn't think to do anything. And he told her she had to go on with her day-by-day life so nobody got suspicious. She went to her in-laws' house during this time to take them food because everybody's so worked up. So take them food. Should they be bringing you food? You're the one with the missing child.
Kid.
Everybody takes food to you.
To your house. You didn't want no one to go to your house because your house is a crime scene right now. It's a bloody mess.
She went to her in-laws' house, took them food, and she took a shower. She can't take a shower at her house because Ramsay is in her bathtub.
So much
Or
stuff.
in his bathtub.
In his bathtub. Like, you don't even live here.
I mean, technically it was her house because her and Daniel bought this condo for Ramsay.
Right.
But still, you gave it to him.
You gave it to him for Ramsay.
So,
okay.
Like, you visit your in-laws and didn't tell them anything?
Like, hint at something. It's not like you have animosity with them because you're taking them food.
No, there was some, like, beef going on between them.
Okay, never mind. If you feel comfortable to take a shower, you can tell me that you're in danger, though.
You can say you're in danger.
I don't like you enough to take a shower at my house. Like, if that was the case, then yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. That's no excuse. Okay.
So during this trial, over 30 people testified. Some, of course, which were neighbors.
Yeah.
So I talked about the lady who saw her carrying the bags and was like kind of confused, like, "Where's your son?" And she said this happened on January 30th. Then there was another lady who claimed she heard power tools, and obviously that's nothing suspicious because Ramsay worked on, he like always doing projects and stuff in the house, so that was like nothing. But she said it was like she smelled chemicals and like burnt, like a chemical odor.
It just didn't smell like, it didn't seem like a normal project.
And then she said the sound was kind of muffled. If Ramsay was gonna be working on something, he was just gonna do it. It's like the sound was kind of like muffled and stop and go, which because that saw wasn't meant for flesh.
It wasn't meant for flesh.
It wasn't meant for a person.
We're not gonna tell you what saw is meant for flesh, but that's definitely not it.
So there was another lady that she said she would take care of Ramsay's dog for him,
right? Because
he worked a lot and he just couldn't keep up with the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So she said her and Ramsay, he would visit the dog, they would talk, he would talk about his life, how he couldn't wait to get off probation, like do better with his life, like he was really doing better, like he was trying to regain his own guardianship, like he didn't want Donna to have guardianship over him anymore. So she said he came over on January 22nd to visit the dog, and she hadn't seen or heard from him since.
And that's definitely suspicious if we went from like conversations like 24/7, like at least every day, to like nothing at all for the same time period where, yeah, no, that's suspicious.
Mm-hmm. So Daniel Scrivo's sister, Allison Furtall, which was obviously Donna's sister-in-law, said she didn't want to believe that Donna killed her own son, but she didn't believe she did believe it. Like after hearing everything, she believed it. And she was saying she also didn't think Donna had anything to do with her brother's death, with Daniel's death, until she realized what she was capable of with her own son. And she said,
because if you don't care about your child, then
you don't have to care about this man either.
Yeah, like what's stopping me from like offing you, like.
So she said that Allison had been giving Daniel B12 shots in his side, which is, it's just a vitamin, so that's not what's going to kill you. But it's the fact that the site got infected. The injection site eventually got infected. And he was like scratching at his side a lot or whatever. And when his sister asked him, was like, yeah, I'm getting B12 shots. Like it's been like painful over here. So when she looked at it and saw it was infected, she told Donna. And Donna was like, yeah, I've been telling him to go to the doctor, but he won't go.
You're supposed to. Okay.
Not even that you're supposed to make them. How did it get infected? But that's like, something you can also treat an infected wound from home.
From home, I was gonna say you're supposed to make sure that if you are doing this.
So she's like, it's obviously it's not hard to infect the needle, but you can't kill somebody with B12 shots. So it's like, did she infect the needle on purpose?
Did you infect the needle?
So he already had heart disease. So by the time he finally went to the doctor, it was kind of like his organs were already shutting down. Like his organs was going into shock because it caused the infection went in his bloodstream. So that caused an infection. It was shutting down his organs. So the very next day after leaving the doctor, he died.
That's very sad. So no, it kind of seemed like maybe she could have had something to do with it.
So it was never proven that she purposely killed him. But like after looking at everything else,
I wouldn't put it past her, though.
Allison also made it known that Ramsay was doing just fine leading up to his death. Like she said, mentally he was fine. Right. So the whole suicidal act she put on, like he probably fell in the water or whatever,
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to her.
That's not the kind of time he was on.
And she found out he was missing was because Donna called and left a voicemail on her phone the following Sunday morning, on January 26th, letting her know that Ramsay had walked to get cigarettes and didn't come back. You know, she went to the stores and bars, didn't find him. Said Donna also told Allison that she had gone to the lake to look for him as well, and she had scratches on her wrist and her scratches on her wrist from the twigs and the branches by the water.
That's a lot of information you're offering up at this point. Yeah, like you never did this before. You don't watch true crime docs, do you? I don't think so.
But like that was strange to Allison too, because like it's cold and you just okay. So
call the police. Exactly. Like I know they say wait 24 hours and stuff like that, but if you're saying
he's suicidal
and he has a mental illness,
a record and a mental illness, you should be able to go to the police.
You should still be able to go. Like,
but Allison told her like post about it on Facebook, and she like no, because if there's nothing wrong, he'll be embarrassed that we posted about it. Like, okay, that's not the point.
Oh well, I don't honestly. If I God forbid anything happened to me, post the crap out of me. Like, and you know I don't like exposure like that. But no, somebody find me. Could I just walk away? I have too much to live for to walk away.
Just leave.
Yeah, you hear that, kidnappers out there? You're not getting me. You'll make it like it was a walk off.
Absolutely not. So the jury deliberated after less than an hour.
That's
came back, like returned to the courtroom with their verdict and determined that Donna Scrivo was guilty of first-degree murder of her son, dead body, disinterment and mutilation, as well as moving a dead body without the medical examiner's permission. Her sentencing was a month later. She went in with a lot to say. She ranted for about 20 minutes of everything that made her mad and didn't make sense to her. She was talked about how 4 other people should have been questioned. She said that there was someone in his house because sometime before everything happened, somebody walked in his house with a key and stole his TV, and that that's why the masked man was just able to walk in without breaking in, because he had a key. It was the same guy.
And there's no police report of that, right? So
she fussed at the prosecutor because he said hurtful things he said hurtful things started during cross-examination. She said she read law books, and according to the books that she read, he was saying stuff that he shouldn't have been able to say, and she was upset with Allison, which is her sister-in-law, because she said her statement was full of hearsay, suspicion, and opinions, which are 3 things that aren't allowed to be used by Michigan law.
This is so crazy.
Exactly. She started throwing out all the wrong things that Allison's done in her lifetime, and how she loaned her thousands of dollars.
You can't beat them doing them. You're coming down with me.
Thousands of dollars, and Allison never returned it. She claimed that the officers didn't stop questioning her after she asked for a lawyer. Like, she just went on and on.
It looked like she did get a law book.
Right.
And she just looked at everything. How do you get off a case? Like, it's half the stuff don't even apply to you.
She said she had an unfair trial because of the stuff that was said about her in the media. She said that the jurors came in already ready to call her guilty because of the stuff that they saw on the news on their own time. They didn't get it all from court. And she said that Ramsay was 67 inches taller and 100 pounds bigger than her, and there was no way she could have moved him from the bedroom to the bathroom and put him in the bathtub by herself. After all the ranting, she asked could her car be released from police custody and given to her son, Jason. Jason ain't been to Michigan now one time since her trial. He don't want nothing to do with this lady.
He don't want that.
He don't want to be in the media. He don't want to do her. He hadn't been to Michigan since her trial started.
Yeah, that's
exactly. He
don't
care about
don't send me nothing.
He don't care about her car.
I wouldn't want it.
So the judge addressed Donna like he looked at her personally before sentencing her and told her how she committed one of the most heinous crimes he's ever heard of in history of being a judge, and the fact that it was to her own son was like mess with his head or whatever.
Yeah.
He told her crime defied all belief and was she was getting one of the worst sentences that could be possibly given in Michigan. He said in his head that wasn't enough. So she was sentenced to life in prison. And as she was signing her papers, she kept talking. She's
like, and another thing.
Exactly.
Like, you don't get another thing.
As she's signing her papers before being cuffed, she like, oh, I didn't have anything. You're wrong, and I'm not guilty of anything you say I'm guilty of.
What? Just shut up. Just take the sentencing. Like, how are you going to still go out like that?
Just shut up.
Like, you acting like your daddy's child and not your mama's child, because Sunday school don't teach you that.
It don't.
What happened to honesty?
It don't.
That is
learned about
so
that in Sunday school.
Crazy.
Yeah, she was tripping for real.
Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't very much like that case, but that has to be one of the craziest ones.
Yeah.
That we've had thus far. Like, that's okay. That's wild. So,
how do you just go straight into a question?
I know what kind of question to pick. We're going to pick something light because
that was a lot.
That was intense. Like, I need to go talk to my pastor after that. Like, dude, how does Sunday school not she went. Alrighty. Let's see. So we're going to get ready to do our 2,000 questions about me. We do them after every episode case. Every case episode. That's a better way of saying it. So, let's see. Question number 831. How organized are you?
Who organizes? I need to write that question down. 831?
Yep, 831.
How organized am I?
Yeah.
I'm not. I try to be. We've gotten a lot better.
We're definitely a lot better than when we first started.
Yeah.
That's kind of because we had to.
We use Google Calendars now. So it's like we try to be a lot more organized with posting and everything. But like organizing my life, I try to use my planner. It just doesn't. Shelby's so much better than using a planner than I am.
Yeah.
Shelby got the stickers and everything. I bought the stickers.
She was
I
like,
barely touched my planner.
I didn't touch it in 2 months. I'm like, Leah, a lot of stuff has happened in 2 months. I think I'm pretty organized. I am. But at the same time, like everybody, I have like my slip days. Becoming a mom has made me really organized though. Like it helps a lot to like kind of have a system going and stuff. So I think so. But then like at the same time, I could really let stuff get like messy at the same time too. But I think for the most part, I'm pretty. All right, you guys, that was Alia's case. Leave us a comment on if you liked it. What do you think about it? Subscribe, share it, all that other stuff. Turn on the post notifications because you don't want to miss when we drop another video. So thanks.
We've been planning some special videos.
Yeah, we
have a special. We talked about our birthday that's coming up. So we're doing a special video for that. We're doing a special Halloween video. We have a lot of special videos that are like outside of our outside of our normal videos. We have some special ones coming up. So, have your post notification bell have your post notifications on so that you're notified when we post those special videos.
Yeah, because you don't want to miss it. You don't want to be late to the party or whatever.
Thank you for listening to Crime in the Men. You can find the transcripts, pictures we've discussed, as well as the links to our references at our website. There, you can also find the links to all of our social media. If you have a case you'd like us to talk about, you can leave a comment down below or go to the Contact Us page of the website and leave a suggestion. Each month, we will choose one for an episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps a lot.